I'd like to take you through the experience of the recruiting manager when recruiting for a position. The purpose of this is to get you to understand what it's like as the prospective employer when undertaking the recruitment process. This will help us to understand how to tailor our applications when applying for positions. So let's explore this example. Imagine you're a project manager. You're leading a team of 6 project officers. You're halfway through the execution phase. You're dealing with deadlines, suppliers being late, potential accidents in the workplace, people wanting updates and wanting them now, budgets under pressure. And through all this, one of your key project officers has had to take some unexpected leave. That leave is effective immediately. This leaves a big gap in your team. This project officer was responsible for the quality of the project. Their role is crucial to ensuring that quality targets are met. This has put pressure on you and on the project. You really don't have time to go through the recruitment process. You have so many other things on your plate at the moment. The last thing you really need is to undertake identifying the skills and the knowledge and the criteria for recruitment, advertising, screen the application, do the interviews, do the reference checks, maybe a second interview, and then appoint and do the induction. It's the last thing you want to be doing at this point, but nevertheless, it's important that you get this done. So you pull the position description out, you define what the criteria for your recruitment is going to be, what are you going to measure the candidates against, and you advertise it through your website and through a common recruitment website. The replacement is urgent. Therefore, you have a 5-day turnaround from when the advert goes live to when you want the applications in. And then after 5 days, you squeeze in the time to have a look at the applications. You've had over 100 applications for this position. You look at the stack, you really don't have time for this. This could take you all week to read them all. Your first point of call is to get this pile down to a more manageable level. You're going to go through and you're going to cull this list down to get it to a short list. That means you're not going to be reading all 100 of them, you're going to be scanning them. You pick up the first one and immediately at a glance, you see it's just wall-to-wall text and you can't really make heads or toes out of it. You cull it. You look at the next one. It's obvious that it's not being pitched for this particular role. You can tell at a glance this is a generic resume and a standard letter of application. If they can't make the effort, you can't make the effort. You cull it. You look at the next one. It's obvious that this person hasn't had much project experience. You can't see the keywords around project, can't see keywords around quality, can't see keywords around diversity. Within a couple of seconds, you decide that this needs to be cut as well. You look at the next one. It looks pretty good. You see the words project, see quality, see officer. See they've worked on recent projects in similar roles. You put this one on the short list to be reviewed further. You quickly get that pile down to a pile of 20. Now with that pile of 20, you have a closer look at each of them individually, compare them to the job description, the criteria set, and see how closely related they are. Within 2 hours, you have managed to go through and get that list of 100 down to a short list of 6. You book in times for Monday morning to interview these final 6 candidates. Now let's look at that experience from the applicant's perspective. As the applicant, I am looking for a new role. Looking through the job search site, I see this job for a project officer to work in a project team. I don't have that much project experience, but this sounds like a pretty good job and the pay looks pretty good. I'm going to apply for this one anyway. I grab out my standard resume. It's a template I use, I send out all the time. I had it updated by a professional a while ago, and that's the one I'm going to send out. I grab out my standard application letter. I'm just going to change the date on that and the person I'm addressing it to, and I'm going to send that through. Within 30 minutes, I've got this application out. I hope I get an interview. Surprisingly, A week later, I get notification I was unsuccessful. I don't understand why. I thought I had a chance for that one. I thought I could have talked my way through the interview. Oh well, next one. Let's look at another candidate. Looking for a new job. I've got a little bit of project experience. I've worked as a project officer. I haven't worked as a project quality officer, but I see this job and it sounds interesting. I'm going to apply for this job. I look at the job closely. I can see from the criteria, from the job description, that I've got some experience in the job. I've worked as part of a project team. I've worked with diverse teams, both locally and remotely. I've worked with quality plans. I have done undertaken monitoring and controlling of those quality plans. I have reported on outcomes. I think I've got a good shot for this. I take my standard resume and I customize it. I grab out my highlighter. I highlight key terms within the advertisement: projects, project officer, quality, quality plans, monitoring, stakeholder engagement, reporting, and I highlight all those keywords and I weave those into my job experience. I start to identify achievements or actions that I've done that are similar to those within the job description, and I start putting those words into my writing. Once I've completed tailoring and customizing my resume, I then go to my application letter. I have a standard application letter, but I need to update this one as well. Again, looking at those key words that I highlighted from the advertisement and the job description, I'm going to start to weave those into my application letter. Projects, project officer, quality teams, quality plans, monitoring and reviewing, updating stakeholders, working remotely and virtually. I'm going to include that into my narrative to ensure that I'm talking the same language as this job advertisement. After 3 or 4 hours, I'm finished. I submit my application. A week later, I get an invitation to go to the interview. I'm excited to talk further about this position.